Namaste everyone. Happy to be here. I believe I'll be speaking to you all on the topic Journey to Self-Realization, Balancing Material Success with Spiritual Fulfillment. Apparently, these are contradictory. Material success is about external luxuries, comfort, aggrandizement. Spirituality is an inner journey that takes you away from material pleasures. Is it possible to balance both of these? The contradiction between these two fields got further exacerbated in the West, where spirituality was considered far removed from science, because scientific people base their knowledge on facts, on proof, and on logic, while spirituality requires believing in nebulous concepts that are not immediately tangible. However, from the Vedic perspective, there is really no contradiction between material science and spiritual science. The Mundaka Upanishad of the Atharva Veda states, Dve vidye veditavye parachaiva paracha. There are two bona fide branches of knowledge. One is material science and the other is spiritual science. And both of these are necessary in your life. Those spiritualists who deny the need for material science, they make a mistake. Because without material knowledge, you cannot take care of your body. There is the story of the Buddha before his enlightenment. He gave up eating and drinking and sat down in dhyana, meditation. Many days went by, weakness overcame him, and he became dizzy. So the meditation went for a 6. At that time, some village women were passing by to fill water in their pots, and they were singing a song. The words of the song were, tighten the strings of the tanpura, but don't tighten them so much that the strings break. The tanpura is a classic Indian musical instrument. It needs to be tuned before playing. But if you tighten the strings too much, they snap. These words fell into the ears of the Buddha, and a light went on. He said, ordinary village women are singing words of such wisdom. Tighten this body, practice austerities, but not to the extent that the body itself is destroyed. This body is your vehicle for practicing spirituality. Shariramadhyam khalu dharma sadhanam. The sadhan, the means for dharma, is also the body. And to take care of the body, you will need to provide it with the proteins, vitamins, nutrition that it needs. That requires recourse to material science. If a spiritualist says material science is a waste of time, you are the soul, just do Radhe Sham all day long, that is an incomplete conception. On the other hand, if material scientists say spirituality is futile, it is an impediment to our economic growth, they are also mistaken. Because spirituality alone has the solution to the problems of our inner world. This inner world of ours has the machinery of the mind and the intellect, which is called antahkaran in Sanskrit. That antahkaran, the mind, is infested with anger, greed, desire, hatred. How do you remove all of these? Go to the best universities in the country. Go to the best universities in the world, Harvard, Stanford, ask them, "Sir, I wish to purify my mind. Which of the 5,000 subjects being offered in your university should I take?" They will all lift their hands. "We are sorry, we don't teach the subject of the purification of the mind." That knowledge is not there in the realm of material science. That is why the greatest scientist from the last century, Albert Einstein, he had to admit that science has succeeded in denaturing the plutonium atom. Science has now got the technology for denaturing the plutonium atom and manifesting nuclear power. But Einstein said, science cannot denature the evil in man's hearts. Science doesn't even have ethical values. It will put nuclear power in your hands, but it will not tell you what is the good or bad use of that power. And that is why, on one hand, we have made tremendous progress with new technologies being made available. Stem cell technology, artificial intelligence, genetically modified organisms, etc., etc. But the big question facing humankind is, where do we draw the limit? What is the right or the wrong use of these technologies? That is where spirituality comes in. Spirituality helps us address the bigger questions in life. Who am I? Where have I come from? What is my goal in life? Spirituality provides us with a value system that enables us to make decisions in this ethical dilemma, what is right and what is wrong. Without recourse to such a value or belief system, life becomes a riddle that is difficult to solve. So from the Vedic perspective, there is no need to contradict spiritual and material science. The Mundaka Upanishad has acknowledged that both are bona fide and both are necessary in life. With material science, you understand the external nature and harness its forces for the sake of your body. With spiritual science, you understand your inner nature, purify it to manifest the divinity within. To reach the goal of your life, you should not contradict these two branches of knowledge, but reconcile and harmonize them. It is commonly said that we are spiritual beings having a material experience. Now, the material experience is the one that we tend to more easily identify with. The luxuries, the comforts, etc. And ever so often we define our success based on our material accomplishments. But does that suffice to fill the yearning of our heart? Some of the people who have been materially most successful will tell you that their lives were spiritually bankrupt. Justin Bieber, until a few years ago, was the icon of the youth worldwide, the second most followed person on Twitter. He sold 150 million albums. However, he admitted in an interview to the media, people look upon the outer remarkable side, but they don't know the other side. This life gets at me, and I have to drag myself to get through the day. If you think that a blue-blooded person, somebody in the royalty, is happy, ask Prince Harry. He admitted, I spent literally all my life telling people I am fine. But I can safely say that losing my mother at the age of 12 and clamping up my emotions for the next 20 years did nothing for the state of my mind. And very often I was veering towards depression. And the same is what we see in the tinsel town of Bollywood. Ever so often, we keep hearing about apparently successful stars who admit that they are so unhappy, they are depressed. Some of them even take their lives. So, despite material success, why is happiness missing? Since independence over the last 77 years, our Bharatvarsh, the average income of people has increased sevenfold, even after discounting for inflation. But the number of people who say they are happy has become half. The teen suicide rate has increased threefold. The number of depressed people have increased fourfold. And the divorce rate has increased fivefold. Now, despite all the material progress, the fulfillment is not happening. What is missing? Before I come to our Vedic wisdom, let's tap into modern psychology. It has very aptly defined two kinds of pleasures. One is hedonic pleasures, and the other is eudaimonic pleasures. What are hedonic pleasures? These are immediate delights, pleasures of the flesh, things that gratify in the here and now. For example, if you go for a late night party, or if you binge on junk foods, or if you intoxicate yourself, it does provide immediate delight. This is the hedonic delight. The problem is the pleasure doesn't last. It goes away. And it gets even worse because those desires arise again and again and again. So chasing hedonic pleasures is like running on a treadmill, where you keep on running for half an hour, but at the end of it, you are in the same place where you were. So a person continues running after the luxuries and the apparent successes of the world. But when they look back, they have got nothing. In fact, they have only inflamed their desires forevermore. There was once a lady who visited a pet shop and purchased a parrot. 2 days later, she returned and asked the shopkeeper, "The parrot doesn't speak." The shopkeeper said, "Madam, parrots love mirrors. Try fitting a mirror in the cage. She did so, but returned again after 3 days. The parrot is still silent. The shopkeeper said, Madam, parrots enjoy staircases. Fit one in the cage, it'll climb up and down. She did that as well, and then again returned after a couple of days. The parrot is still mute. The shopkeeper said, How about a swing? She fitted that, and 3 days later she returned and said, The parrot has died. The shopkeeper said, I am so sorry to hear that. Did it say anything before it died? The lady said, the parrot said, Don't they have any food in that shop? The parrot was looking for food. We were giving it external luxuries. Likewise, within us is our spiritual soul. And we are giving to our soul the pleasures of the senses through the body. The soul within says, I am still not happy. Now look at the other kind of pleasures. These are the eudaimonic happiness. Eu means good. Daimon means the true self. That happiness which is good for your true self. It may not thrill you in the present, but chasing it will lead to your internal growth. It will make you a better person. For example, if you stick to a healthy diet, it may seem austere in the here and now, but it will bestow you good health in the long run. If you control your tongue in relationships, ask for forgiveness, take the humble approach. It may hurt the ego, but it will bestow harmony in the relationships. If you take time out for yoga and exercise on a daily basis, it is not enjoyable immediately. The pleasures are long term. So eudaimonic happiness is the one that leads to your inner growth. And at the end of your life, when you look back, what satisfies is not the hedonic delights you indulged in, but the inner growth that you achieved. So when we say, let's chase success, success definitely is a very sweet word, and we all love it. But you must define for yourself, what does success mean? Spirituality is not removed from success. In fact, spirituality tells us you must strive for the ultimate success. That supreme creator of yours has planned it out for you, bigger than anything you could ever imagine. Once a person placed an eagle's egg in the midst of chicken. Now when the egg hatched, the baby eagle grew up in the midst of chicken. And monkey see, monkey do. It would see the chicken clucking and flipping their wings and would do the same. Astonishing, it was destined to rule the skies, and it was flapping around on the ground like a helpless chicken. One day, it saw an eagle in the sky and was amazed. Wow, what a glorious flight of this bird! Who is that? The chicken said, that is an eagle, the king of the birds. What it can do, we can never do. And the eagle believed it, continued to live like a little chicken on the ground. It did not claim its infinite destiny. Likewise, spirituality tells you that God has planned out a glorious destiny for you. The word for the supreme in Sanskrit is Brahma. This word Brahma means infinitely big. Vrihatva Brahma. But the word has another meaning as well. Vringhanatvat Brahma. He who makes others big. So the Supreme Lord is not a miser. He wants to give His infinite treasures to all of us. And the purpose of human life is to realize your potential as the soul. The purpose of life is to grow from within and try and become the best version of yourself. All religious traditions of the world have said the same thing. The Bible has said, "Be ye perfect even as your Father in heaven is perfect." Swami Vivekananda expressed this concept so brilliantly when he said, "These prophets." He is referring to prophets that we worship. He says, "These prophets whom you and I worship were not unique. They were human as you and I. And they had attained super consciousness. And you and I can do the same." The very fact that one person attained that state indicates that all of us can do so. And that ultimately is religion. What is the purpose of religion as understood by him? To grow in perfection in our inner journey and realize the supreme glory that God has destined for all of us. But that is only one definition of success, to be the best version of yourself. There is another aspect to this as well. Once there was a woodcutter, a lumberjack, who used to work in a forest cutting trees for an employer. A social researcher approached him and said, "How much do you earn?" He said, "Aji Sahab, I get 50 rupees an hour." The social researcher said, "If I give you 100 rupees an hour, will you work for me?" He said, "Sahab, definitely I want money. All right, come over on Monday to my farm." This lumberjack resigned and he came over to meet his new employer. The social researcher said, "I'm giving you the axe. However, you will not hold it from the handle. Sorry, you will use." Now the axe has the iron head. One side is sharp, which is used for cutting, and the other side is round. He told the lumberjack, "You will hit the tree with the round side of the iron head." The woodcutter said, "Sir, I can keep on hitting it. It will never get cut. Why do you bother? I'm giving you 100 rupees an hour." "Okay, if I'm getting my money, then why not?" So he went to work. He did it from morning till evening, 8 hours a day, Monday to Thursday. On Friday evening, he returned to the researcher, threw the axe at his feet and said, "Sir, I quit." The researcher said, "What is the matter? You are getting double the salary." "Sir, this is no fun. I need to see the chips flying. Just hitting it like this is not satisfying me." Likewise, all of us want to see the chips flying. No matter what our profession, We wish to see that it is making a difference in this world. It is helping the life of at least one person. Without that kind of visibility, our work can never satisfy us. In the industrial environment, researchers have seen there are the packers in one line, production line, there are unpackers in another production line. Those who are doing creative packing work are more satisfied with their job than those who have to break things apart. So all of us wish to see chips flying. What does that mean? We wish to do good. Whatever talents God may have given us, we wish to use them in a way that will make a difference to this world. Now that then becomes our definition of success. At J.K. Yog, my organization, we put it like this: do good, be good, feel good. Now when you wish to be good, to do good, you will realize that the means for doing your work effectively is your inner consciousness. The better you become from inside, the more effective your work becomes. As you rise in the corporate hierarchy, you ask any CEO what is the biggest obstacle in the work you are doing. The CEO will say, my own self. If I could be a better person, I would automatically, by virtue of my consciousness, be more effective in my work. And then work becomes a means for self-unfoldment as well. It is just like the Japanese have a horticultural style called bonsai. It's a very cruel art form. I would not recommend it to anyone, but there's a learning there. So everybody has seen those bonsai trees. They are grown in small vessels. And you will find big pine trees growing in little vessels. They're so stunted, they're about this tall. And how come the pine tree remained so short? Because its roots were not allowed to expand. So for the tree to manifest its potential, it needs strong roots. Likewise, to be able to succeed in your profession, in your career, in a meaningful manner, you will realize that you need to grow from within. That is most important. We people always prioritize external growth. If you analyze your calendar for the year, how many days did you allocate for external progress? And how many days did you allocate for internal progress? You will realize there is a complete mismatch. Now, God is more concerned with our internal progress. We are more concerned with our external attainments. I had once gone to Mussoorie in the Himalayas and was walking up a cliff which was completely bare. It had brown soil, completely barren land. And in the midst of it, I saw a beautiful flower blossoming. And it was so striking. I said, my God, this flower is able to blossom on barren land? Likewise, The Supreme wants us to blossom wherever we may be. No matter what your material situation, focus on your inner growth, and that blossoming will start. But we have got it the other way round. And we say external growth is my measure of success. So we need to switch the priorities. This is called leadership from inside out. And when we start growing spiritually, it doesn't mean that our material world changes, but our perspective to this world changes. People have this feeling that to be spiritual, you need to go into the Himalayas. And in Mumbai, how can you ever be spiritual? But the Vedas say this is a mistaken notion. What is spiritual? What is material? Consider a knife. That knife, in the hands of a doctor, it is a good thing. In the hands of a dacoit, it is a bad thing. The knife in itself is neither good nor bad. It is the usage which is determining the end result. Likewise, spirituality tells us that this whole world is a manifestation of the energy of God. The world is neither good nor bad. The Bard of Avon, William Shakespeare, said that many centuries ago. There is nothing good or bad in this world, but thinking makes it so. Our Ishopanishad of the Yajurveda says, Ishavasyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyan jagat. This whole world is the veritable form of God. We are experiencing tension and anxiety in it because of the ignorance within us. God has designed it perfectly. If we could remove our ignorance, we would then perceive the graces that come even in adversities. Consider this example. One little boy, in his grade 5 in school, he learnt in his science class about how a caterpillar weaves a cocoon around itself and then hibernates for a few weeks to finally emerge one day as a beautiful butterfly. While he was returning from school, he saw hanging from the rose bush in his garden lot a cocoon. He was thrilled. This will be my personal laboratory. So every day while going to school and returning, he would check the progress of his cocoon. One day, sure enough, a tear was visible and the butterfly was going to emerge. Since it was a Saturday, a holiday, he was coming to check it after every hour. And by late afternoon, the butterfly's head was now obvious. He was looking transfixed. It was ripping apart its house for the last so many weeks to emerge in this beautiful world. That caterpillar metamorphized. It kept on progressing slowly as the boy watched, until it was halfway out, and then it seemed to get stuck. Now it could make no progress. The cocoon was bobbing up and down, up and down. This boy thought, oh my God, what an adversity has hit this butterfly. I need to do my good deed for the day. He ran in, got a pair of scissors and clipped the cocoon. He thought he was doing a favor to the butterfly, it would fly off, but it fell plop onto the earth. He looked carefully, it was cringing around on the ground. He studied it, its stomach was swollen and its wings were shriveled. He thought this will soon correct itself. The wings will fill up, the stomach will shrink. But he did not know that this would now never happen. That struggle of pulling itself out of the cocoon was necessary to squeeze the fluid from its stomach into the wings. Without the struggle, it would remain crippled. Likewise, in this creation, difficulties are placed before us, not because our Creator hates us, or He doesn't care for us, or He is cruel and wishes to torture us. They are His way to help us fill our wings for the flight ahead. We don't understand. We look for somebody who can take away all our difficulties without realizing their utility. And the reason is our lack of understanding of what is success. We have tied up success with hedonic delights. We have created a measure of success based upon our income, the size of our house and the size of our car. Now, our Creator wishes us to be successful, but the kind of success He wishes from us is that we become the best version of ourselves and then utilize our God-given talents in a manner that will make a difference to this world. When we understand this, then our priority becomes inner growth. And to do that, on a daily basis, you can take out some time for your spiritual sadhana. All day long, you are in the work environment, and your mind undergoes attrition. No matter how much you intend to keep your thoughts and consciousness high, the worldly interactions wear you out with anger, greed, desire. So spirituality says, block out a certain amount of time on a daily basis to nurture yourself and go within. It's just like milk. If you pour it in the water, the milk and water mix with each other. But if you keep the milk separate from the water for a little while, then you convert it into yogurt and churn the yogurt to extract the butter. This butter now will challenge the water. पानी भाई साहब, हम आपकी खोपड़ी पे बैठ के तैरेंगे, आप हमारा कुछ नहीं बिगाड़ सकते. जब तक हम दूध थे, आप हमारे साथ घुल जाते थे. रेस्टोरेंट में लोग हमको फेंक देते थे, वेटर कैसा दूध लाए हो, इसमें पानी मिला हुआ है. लेकिन पानी भाई साहब, अब हम मक्खन बन चुके. So you enhance the power of the milk to butter by keeping it separate from the water for a little while. Likewise, for 1 hour every day, you go into isolation, nurture yourself spiritually, work on the inner laboratory of your mind, and then emerge into the world with spiritual awareness to use your talents in your work environment in the best possible manner that you can. This will then be the perfect definition of success that reconciles both the realms of materialism and spirituality, where you do good, be good, and feel good. You do the best you can, try to be the best version of yourself, and that is the way to true fulfillment, eudaimonic pleasures. Thank you very much.